Welcome to the forecast discussion for December 30th, 2013. It's the last Monday of 2013. Next Monday will be 2014. But let's not worry about next Monday because I'll likely feature another snowstorm. I'll get to that. It's currently 9:30 a.m. and we are reaching our high temperatures for today, where temperatures are ranging from the upper 30s to lower 40s, even a few mid 40s in the Philadelphia metropolitan area. And you can see the cold air is on the way over northeastern Pennsylvania, where temperatures are crashing into the 30s and into the 20s as an Arctic cold front moves through. Enjoy the temperatures now because they are falling throughout the rest of the afternoon through the 40s, 30s, and eventually into the 20s as we crash into our Arctic air mass. On the radar, there is some snow showers out here in central and western Pennsylvania. Now, I wouldn't really put much as far as any potential for snowfall here today. Definitely will be cloudy all day. There'll be a threat for a few isolated snow showers and flurries, but nothing significant in nature. Just don't be caught off guard by a flurry or two or a brief snow shower here or there. Nothing significant, though, in nature. Here is the latest infrared satellite picture, and you can see that Arctic cold front moving through. A little bit of enhanced lifting here along the cold front. Again, not much in the way of precipitation here, but certainly with that cold air mass moving in, temperatures are going to be falling through the 40s, into the 30s, and eventually into the 20s by this evening. And by tomorrow morning, the coast will be in the upper teens to lower 20s, and the interior in the lower to mid teens. So it is going to get cold here. Now the question is, what about a storm? There's a lot of talk about a storm for January 2nd to January 3rd, basically Thursday into Friday. And depending on which model you go with or want to follow or worship or whatever, you can go with light snow, no snow, rain, heavy rain, ice storm. There's a whole bunch of different solutions here. And the reason why is because we're dealing with what's called with a Miller B type storm. I'm going to pull up the water vapor satellite picture here. I'm going to break this down very simply. The key factor here with this storm is this disturbance right here, this disturbance down here, and how the blocks develops with this low pressure system right here. Originally, the idea was that the polar vortex would drop down to, let's say, around Ontario, and that would force this disturbance to basically take a track from, let's say, Arkansas to North Carolina and out into the Atlantic because of all the strong suppression. That does not look likely now. Now it looks like the polar vortex redevelops more towards the Canadian Maritimes. That allows this track to be further north. The question is how far north and how fast does the low pressure system redevelop over the coastal waters around Delaware and rapidly intensify. This is called a Miller B type storm. And what happens with these storms is that usually you get one area of precipitation over the Ohio River Valley, and then another intense area of precipitation somewhere around the northern mid-Atlantic up through New England. And with this type of scenario, you could end up with a very tight snow gradient from less than an inch along the immediate New Jersey coast to over a foot just to the north and west, depending on where this low pressure system intensifies, when it intensifies, and how fast does it move to the northeast. One thing is certain with this storm is that we are going to see snow on Thursday. The only question really now is how much. So we'll really get a better idea of this storm and the overall evolution. And I think the models will become better, let's say, more in agreement by this evening, or let's say by the 0Z model guidance tonight, because this disturbance here will fall into a better area of sampling or better observations so that we can get a better idea of just how strong this storm could be and when exactly it will redevelop along the coast. As you can see, it's rather intense already, and it's well developed, and it has a long way to go. And we have, of course, plenty of moisture here associated with the subtropical jet stream. So we have a lot to look at here. Now let's look at the model guidance, because that is really interesting to follow. So here's the European model guidance from the Penn State UWall website. I'm going to show you the ensemble model guidance to kind of make a point here. So here we are for this evening. We have our disturbance out here. We have a disturbance here. We have our block developing here. Here's our polar vortex. And of course, it is very cold. Now for tomorrow, pretty much tranquil. High pressure and control. It's going to be chilly. Temperatures are going to struggle in the lower to mid 30s along the coast, mid to upper 20s over the interior. Our low temperatures again will be in the teens to 20s. So it's not exactly going to be very pleasant outside, but at least it'll be dry. Can't rule out an isolated snow shower here and there, but overall rather tranquil. Now, by the time we get to Wednesday, this is where everything starts to evolve here. We're going to watch this feature right here. This is our polar vortex shifting towards the Canadian Maritimes. This slows down the whole atmospheric pattern to allow the Miller B storm to actually develop. The stronger this disturbance is, the stronger this upper level low is, the further south and east the track is. So if this is very intense, like what we're seeing with earlier model guidance, it would suppress the storm well out into the Atlantic and basically be a focus for Virginia and Maryland and Delaware. That does not look like it's going to happen at this time. What it looks like it's going to happen is that this upper level low will shift towards the Canadian Maritime, should I say, and weaken just enough to allow this disturbance to track towards the Ohio River Valley. Now notice we have plenty of cold air in place here. So there is no doubt that we have plenty of cold air in place. Here's our high pressure system to the north. Now here we go a little bit further out. Here we are for Thursday. A couple of key features to keep in mind here. Again, here's our polar vortex here. Now, see how the model guidance is kind of spreading this out like this? I don't like the way the models handle this, okay? I think we're going to see a sustained, controlled, stronger upper level low here. You're going to have lower heights here over the northern Atlantic, but I don't like this stringiness. You know, when the model guidance does this, this is called model error, and I don't trust this. But I do like the idea of a more concentrated area, low pressure, to the northeast of the Canadian Maritimes, thus leading to strong convergence and confluence over the St. Lawrence River Valley, thus our stronger high pressure system, and cold air being forced down the coast. Now, as you can see on the operational model guidance, you have quite a bit of warm air moving, invading into the coastal plain. The freezing line is just along or just to the north of Long Island, back through northern New Jersey, and then to the north of Philadelphia. The reason why is because you have this trough going negative already, and you have the primary low pressure system still focused over West Virginia. It's kind of baggy here. You can clearly see a coastal low trying to develop, but the primary is clearly focused more towards the Ohio River Valley, thus leading to warmer air invading the coast. However, on the ensemble model guidance, a couple of key features. This is the ensemble, this is the operational. On the ensemble, there's more of a focus towards the coast because the trough is more of a neutral state at this point. It doesn't go negative a little bit later until about another 6 to 12 hours later, thus leading to more of a focus towards the coast. So as a result, instead of having the primary low back here, it's more rapidly focusing more towards the coast. Thus, you end up at 850 millibars with a colder solution, slightly colder, but the small details here in the storm will make a huge difference on who gets what. And that's the point I'm trying to make. Any type of shift, north or south, will make a huge difference on whether, let's say, New York City gets an inch of snow or 12 inches of snow. Whether Philadelphia gets an inch of snow or 6, 8 inches of snow. So the difference in the timing of when this low pressure system jumps to the coast, when it intensifies, how fast it intensifies will be huge because it's going to be a key factor in determining just how much warm air is able to invade the coastal plain up against this very strong high pressure system. And by the way, I have some doubts here that the low level cold air is going to be driven out as fast as the model guidance is saying. We've been down this road before. So we're going to keep an eye on this storm. It's not a slam dunk storm. It's a very complicated one and one that I would not jump to conclusions with at this time. Just be prepared for a storm on Thursday and plan accordingly. That would be the best way I would suggest this event. Now, by the time we get to Friday evening, Our 500 millibar low is centered over the Gulf of Maine. This storm just explodes. All of the model guidance suggests this storm's going to blow up. Question is where and when. That's pretty much it. That's the bottom line. If it does what the European model guidance is doing, and I like the European model guidance solely because it has a better sampling record. Okay, it has more data to work with. GFS not so much. Okay, so when I'm looking for a model guidance to use in this type of scenario, I'm looking for one that is the most reasonable and also has the most data to work with, more sampling data to work with. And that usually is the European ensemble model guidance, and that's why it typically does a better job in these scenarios. But again, I stress the point that we need to keep an eye on this storm. On Friday, our temperatures go nowhere. We just bottom out. Low temperatures in the single digits and teens. High temperatures in the mid to upper teens, and that might be too warm of a forecast. It's going to get very cold on Friday behind this storm. Saturday is no better. We're going to be in the single digits to lower teens along the coast for lows, mid to upper 20s for highs. And then on Sunday, we're going to have to watch another storm. Here's another disturbance, again with the subtropical jet stream here, that we're going to have to watch to see how it evolves. It's diving here. It lifts up towards the Ohio River Valley and Tennessee River Valley. And again, the position of this polar vortex, notice how it's kind of stringed out here, and where exactly this disturbance starts to go negative will be a key determining factor as to when we see a jump towards the coast with this surface low. So again, don't focus on the details. Just focus on the fact that right now we have a storm potential for Thursday, and we have another storm potential for Sunday into Monday with a very impressive upper level low over the northwestern Atlantic, another one over the Hudson Bay and towards central Canada, and we have a disturbance riding under that, leading to the potential, once we get the details in, of a very powerful winter storm once again. So again, keep an eye on this storm. Where it tracks for Sunday night to Monday will again determine who gets what and how much. I'm not going to put down details yet because obviously we have to get through the first storm on Thursday to really nail down the second storm as far as aligning where the polar vortex was set up, where the upper level low over the northern Atlantic sets up, and also to determine just how strong these disturbances are in the subtropical and polar jet stream that will bring us all this active weather. And then after that, the bomb just falls out here. I mean, we just get very cold with Arctic air invading, temperatures struggling in the mid-20s here for highs. Okay, it could be even colder than that, as there's some model guidance suggesting that temperature will be below zero for lows in this type of air mass. And it's not over yet, because here comes our another shot that is setting up over northern Canada that has no place to go but towards the plains and then towards the east coast, driving more Arctic air into the east coast. So, looks like it's going to be a pretty active weather pattern moving forward. I'll keep an eye on this storm, of course, throughout the day and over the next several days, issuing videos, discussions. We'll nail this down. It just takes patience. There's no reason to jump to conclusions and put out snow maps and model snow maps and all that stuff. Just wait. We'll get this nailed down and we'll get the right forecast. Of course, I'm your meteorologist, Stephen DiMartino. You can follow the latest weather information at nynjpaweather.com and nynjpaweather on Twitter, Facebook, Google+, and LinkedIn. Have a wonderful day. Stay safe out there.